everybody, I'm Jesse, and welcome to another edition of Gen X Thinks. And today I'm going to talk about barbarism, but the kind of the mentality of it. I was reading my book, listening to an audio book, the Game of Thrones. It's the Song of Ice and Fire series, which I really don't recommend anybody start now, because the author has been working on the second to last book for like 14 years now, and he's getting old and he's not going to finish it. It's going to piss everybody off. But anyway, the first book, Game of Thrones, there are these two barbarian girls, right? They're called Dothraki is the name of their race or whatever. And they're talking to the main character, Daenerys, and they keep telling her, this is known. They tell her that the moon is a goddess and she's married to the sun, and this is known. It's just known, and that's their entire argument, right? It's known. Everybody knows this. This information is just known. That's the way it is. It makes it factual and truthful, because it's known. And I see that in society today. People just believe shit, right? It's just because everybody's saying it that it must be true. And that is really a surprising thing when you think about it and look at the way we were back in the 70s and 80s with all the in-depth reporting and the digging out the facts and rooting out the facts and trying to find the truth, looking for the truth, and all this in the media and all these other places. Everywhere truth was paramount. Everybody wanted to know the truth. Now nobody gives a shit, right? I mean, a few of us do, Gen Xers in particular. But now nobody gives a shit what's true. The only thing that matters is what is said, and it is known. It's known, and we can look at science that, the universe was created during, because of the Big Bang. It is known, right? Vaccines are good for you. It is known. All kinds of shit. War is necessary. It is known. And the list goes on and on and on. Immigration is good. It is known. Politicians and the government care for the people. It is known. That kind of shit. Where we grew up, we were raised to question all that shit. I question literally everything. And I've been having a conversation in the comment section there where me and the other person who probably knows who who you are, we heard different things, and we're just having a conversation about it, and they heard one thing and I heard another thing, but the fact is neither one of us know. We don't know shit, but we're both talking about it because we feel one way or the other about it, but neither one of us know what the hell actually happened. We weren't there. All we are doing is going off of what we were told. And I've said this before, that 99% of what we know, we think we know anyway, is just some shit somebody else told us. And almost always, they have a financial interest in telling you. There's a reason they want you to believe that. So that you'll buy their newspaper or watch their movie or, give them a click and a thumbs up or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, that's just the nature of the beast, right? Wherever I heard my side of the story, they were trying to get me to, side with them and give them my attention so they will make money and become famous or whatever, whatever the thing is. So all these places that are divulging this information, right, and giving their opinion on these subjects and all this stuff, in reality, it's all bullshit. Okay, because we don't know. We just have no idea. But it's fun. These conversations are great to have. They're great. I'm enjoying the conversation I'm having in the comment section. But people just can't can't have, develop hard feelings over talking about this kind of stuff. Not that me and this person are having hard feelings or anything. We're not getting there, but it's just a great conversation. But people do, they'll get insulting and all this bullshit because it is known, right? Because something is known, and what is known is just some shit you heard, right? There's some shit we heard, some shit I heard, and we've got to open our eyes to that, the fact that these people that are spouting all this shit on both sides of every argument have an interest in it. They're trying to make money, they're trying to influence people, they're trying to influence us. So even take this conversation I'm having, and it's not an argument, we're just conversing and presenting each side of our opinions on the matter. The stuff I heard could be complete bullshit, 100% lies, the stuff I'm reading, right, or listening to or whatever. I understand this. My side of the story could be complete bullshit. So I come from a situation where I believe that both sides are bullshit, okay? Both sides are bullshit. That's the only way you can come at it and come to any kind of logical conclusion, and then make up your mind about whether the act, the situation, whatever the thing you're discussing is good or bad or whatever, because both sides of the story are bullshit, most likely. You know what I mean? Either just completely fabricated, made up, or skewed to affect your feelings and your judgment and stuff and all this. And that's the way I see society going in a lot of ways, is that we're, and not Gen X, I mean, we're actually discussing this shit, and, like I said, we're discussing it and trying to find the truth and trying to learn how each other are feeling about certain subjects or whatever, certain incidents, and we're trying to learn from each other. Okay, we're actually digging for the truth. But mainstream society, they're just completely buffaloed into believing whatever the popular narrative is. It is known, right? And mentally, now not technologically, of course, we're all, we've got all kinds of drones and AI and all this weird bullshit. But yeah, we've got all that cool shit. But mentally, we're kind of reverting back to the barbaric, thought patterns, the barbaric way of thinking. I can't go up and investigate, 5 miles up in the sky. So, the thing I heard about Thor beating his hammer against his anvil to create the thunder, I mean, that's as plausible as anything else I've heard. So, hell, Thor makes the thunder and the lightning by beating on his anvil up there. It is known. You know what I mean? That's the kind of shit that people used to believe, just because they were told. Every single Viking didn't come up with their own theories about Thor and Odin and all that. They were handed that shit down. They were told by someone else, and it was known. So there's no argument about it. There's no discussing about whether Thor actually exists and whether he's actually up there beating his hammer against his anvil. It is known. And that, if you think about it, that's the way that mentally we're going back. We're reverting to that kind of shit. It is known, because we're just told. We're told, and we accept it as. I keep pointing this out, as a society, as a human race, not we as Gen Xers, as subscribers and contributors to Gen X Thinks, not us, we as a people, as a whole society, we just accept what we're told, and it is known, all this weird shit we're told about how the universe was created, and there's nothing to see here with the Epstein files and whatever else. It's metric tons of bullshit, and people just accept it. And nowadays it's so much easier to investigate a little bit. right? Is the source plausible? Have they been caught in multiple lies in the past? Of people constantly calling them out for lying and bullshitting everybody? So this kind of shit can be attributed to laziness, or the more accurately, I think it can be described as addiction to convenience. It's just inconvenient to research anything I've heard. It's just inconvenient. I have to flip past, my phone screen 5 times and maybe tap on it 20 times, to find out the truth. That's just horribly inconvenient. So, they just let corporations gobble up the entire planet and, make it more convenient for me. That we're at that level, where thinking is inconvenient. Thinking is, it's just problematic. It's a waste of time now. Questioning things, why question things when I can just, drool on my phone and believe whatever the hell I'm told? So that we're getting dumber at a surprising rate, and not dumber that we can't learn, but dumber that we won't. We refuse to learn. We refuse to accept the fact that the world is full of shit. We refuse to accept the fact that we should do a little research on our own. I mean, us Gen Xers, we used to go to the library and look shit up. I remember those newspaper racks they used to have with the wooden dowel that ran across and the newspaper would slide. I remember taking those down and reading the articles and stuff in the library. I remember doing that as a kid, researching stuff and looking stuff up and going in there and finding a good book or whatever and reading. Now, that kind of stuff is gone away. And not only is it too inconvenient to, go all the way to the library and search through newspapers, it's too inconvenient to swipe on your phone now, just sitting on your couch and this is too inconvenient now. So they just, whatever pops up, they just absorb, and and it's completely ridiculous. It's dystopian. It really is. It's idiocracy. And it's happening in real time. So yeah, that's a troubling thing to watch humanity go down that road. All right, so give you something to think about there, and thank you for all the great conversations in the comment section. I'm not able to get to all of them, because YouTube kind of changed whatever they were doing and makes it more difficult. But anyway, I try to keep up as best I can. So thank you for all the great conversations in the comment section. And I'll leave you there with that. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and comment. I appreciate those of you who do that, so thank you very much. If you'd like to support Gen X Thinks by becoming a member, I'll put that link down in the description, or you can head over to the channel page and become a member that way. I sincerely appreciate all the members here on the members banner. Thank you very much for your support. I really do appreciate it. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can do so by clicking on that super thanks button down there, or you can hit that hype button. That hype button's a new thing that YouTube is doing. I really appreciate those of you who hit the hype button, so thank you very much to those of you who do that. If you're interested in Gen X gear, we got some pretty cool stuff over there at Redbubble. Gen X Thinks and Gen X branded stuff, t-shirts, coffee mugs, stickers, all kinds of cool stuff. But I'll leave that link down in the description for any of you who are interested. If you can't or don't want to support the channel in any of those ways, you can always do so by sharing these videos on your social media. That helps out one hell of a lot, so thank you very much to those of you who do that. If you have any ideas for future episodes of Gen X Thinks, please put those down in the comments, or you can email us, and the email is genxthinks@gmail.com. And as always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one.